Greetings, citizens of the internets in Indianapolis. It is I, Eliott the King, joined by one of the biggest stars out there right now. You might have heard of him. His name is Duncan Laurence. Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thanks for having me. Thanks.
We got lots to get into, so let's start from the beginning. That's usually a good place to start.
Sure,
I
let's
mean,
do it.
we could start at the middle, but that would be weird. I don't want to, make it
I
hard
mean,
for
it
the
always
listeners.
confuses people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's just start at the yeah, I think you're right. Let's start at the very like beginning.
Well,
That's a
let's
good
let's
point.
start from the beginning.
So
Okay, so
people, if
you
you get distracted by this rainbow thing that's going on here, it's a MIDI keyboard that I'm about to use in the next interview. So I have no idea how to switch off the rainbow colors, but I thought, hey, it's Pride Month
oh
anyway.
yeah, it's a vibe
Yeah.
though.
Do you see
I,
it? Do you see
yeah,
it?
a little bit.
It's
It
purple
just looks
now.
like it's like you're like a little alien shape shifting arms, but that's cool
Yeah,
though.
it's quite modern for me actually. I'm more of a simple, subtle, nostalgic guy, but hey, we'll work with it.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. So
Exactly.
you grew up in a small town in the
Hmm.
Netherlands. Like really small, like what, 40,000 people total in your town. Can you
Like
tell
you won't
us
see
what?
it on the map on Google Earth, like that kind of small.
Yeah, you just have to know where it is.
Exactly.
Uh,
Yeah.
what are some of the like the? There's got to be like pros and cons to that. So what are some of the pros and cons to living and growing up in a small town like that?
I mean, the pros were definitely that everything was like very like easy to reach. I mean, I didn't have traffic jams. I didn't know them until I was 18 and like saw Amsterdam for the first time. I mean, like it was great to grow up in a town that's small and where people actually know each other. But the bad side is the good side too. So it has two sides, of course, because when everyone knows each other, and especially in my case, I got bullied a lot. It was kind of a pain in the ass too that everyone knew each other, and things spread so fast, and it was,
Mm,
yeah, the small town talk.
yeah,
That's the
there's no
negative side of it.
secrets. There's no secrets in a
Nope.
small town.
No, no,
And
and
then,
rumors spread fast even if they're false or true.
yeah, that's unfortunate. But then you grow up and you moved on. You moved to the
Yeah.
to the states, right? Eventually moved to LA.
I didn't. No, not yet. Well, I lived for a couple of months in LA right before lockdown hit. And since I still have a European passport, it was quite difficult to stay there because I had gigs and performances and sessions and everything in the Netherlands and in Europe. So when I traveled back to my home country, I could not go back to the States, which was very
Uh,
unfortunate because I love it there and I want to be there. And
yeah,
it's just, yeah, it's just, let's get through these last couple of weeks hopefully,
yeah,
and then we'll be in LA soon.
yeah. We're almost there. I can feel it. We're on the cusp of it. But what was
Yeah,
there any like culture shock when you got to visit the states in LA and all that stuff? Growing up in a small town and then
definitely,
going to
man. I was
one of the
like,
biggest cities in the world.
I mean, the funny thing was like in the small town where I grew up, and later I moved to Amsterdam, so I didn't live in a small town anymore. But
Hmm.
it was like the biggest culture shock I had was that people ask you how you are. Um, so right after hi, it's like, hey, how are you? And I was like,
Hmm.
am I supposed to tell you now how I'm actually doing? Or is it just like, is this a thing? Is this a greeting thing only? So it's like the first couple of times I was like, yeah, I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm okay actually. Yeah, still getting used to this. And then they were already like,
Already gone.
on to the next customer. And I was like, uh, okay, thank
Oh,
you. Because in Holland, we just say, hey, hi,
hey,
you're buying this? Okay, money? Okay, bye, like
yeah.
that. So I do like the personal touch to the greetings and the whole conversation. And what I love about Americans is that they're all always very uplifting. In Europe, it's kind of, we're very nostalgic, and people love us for that. But at the same
Hmm.
time, things can get a little bit dark and depressing
Hmm.
sometimes, especially in winters. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm from the Netherlands. Everything gets
Yeah.
really dark here
Oh,
in the winter.
wow.
But that was a big difference. I love how positive people in America are, and there's always a chance, always a dream, always some hope to hold on to. I love that.
Absolutely. I always tell people that, like, if you look for the positive, you'll find whatever you're looking for. So if you're looking for the
Yeah,
negative, you'll find the negative. But if you look for the positive, you can
exactly.
find some positive. So I'm glad you're
And
able
that's
to
true.
experience that. And yeah, for people who don't know, if we ask how you do, we don't really want to know your life story. Just say hi, keep it
So
moving.
Europeans listening,
Yeah. When you
it's
come here, we
not
say
a
hi, how you
therapy
doing?
session.
We don't care really. I
That's
was
good to
playing.
know. I wish I knew
Yeah.
that.
Then you go on to this show Eurovision, which I didn't even
Yeah,
know was a real show till I saw the movie Eurovision on Netflix. I don't know if you
it
saw
is.
that or not with Will Ferrell.
I did.
Um,
Yeah.
but explain what that experience was like for you, because you're like the only winner to have a song come from Eurovision that when you won it and it be on the Billboard Hot 100. So explain what that means to you and kind of what that whole experience was like for you.
I mean, like Eurovision has been around for like it's older than my grandma, I think. So it's been around for a long time. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a nostalgic thing that we have here in Europe, and it's a very big talent show, but it's mainly focused on songs. So it's not about the X factor or the voice or the this or the that. It's just about a good song, an artist that performs it, and if Europe likes it, then they'll decide that that's the winner of that year. So it's quite a unique show, and countries send out their representatives in the form of artists every year. So it's
Mm-hmm.
really cool. And I was like, whoa, only famous people get to do that in Holland, like representing the Netherlands. So I was kind of the first one they send out that was not famous at all. And I just had a song and it was Arcade. And I thought like this could be my platform to hopefully push my first single on, which was Arcade. So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it was a great experience, and the best thing that I've experienced from it was that I could truly be myself and just do what I wanted to do on that stage without being pushed or being told like that's not going to work or that's you should do it like this. No, it was just what do you want and we'll provide it for you. So that was great.
Oh yeah, that was one thing I was wondering, because when you watch the performance, like the song's already, great and beautiful as itself, but when you add those
Thank
big
you.
visual elements to it, I was like, whose
Oh, it
idea
was
is that?
so
Is that
nice.
your idea, or is that did they
It
come up with
was,
that?
yeah. Well, of course, I have a great team behind me, and I have like Inyos Dahaza was the designer of the whole staging and everything, and he works for Chanel, Gucci, all the big fashion brands, and he
Mm-hmm.
designs the catwalks and the whole thing. If you go to like websites of Chanel right now and you see what they are doing, that's mainly that's his idea. So that's really great
Mm.
to be working with someone like that. And the only thing I said, like I wanted to be dreamy. I want some northern lights in there. I wanted to, kind of be but like centered around the song and around the story that I'm telling. I just want to have a piano, maybe a light thing somewhere, maybe something special popping up somewhere. Because hey, it's still Eurovision. Eurovision is
Yeah.
all about like flashy things and stuff. But we made it subtle, and we really stayed true to the core of the song and the story, and and also we centered it around me as a musician, and that was
Mm-hmm.
quite new for Eurovision, where mainly people dance and it's like flashy songs, and it's like almost in a very good way and Eurovision way, almost a little bit of a circus sometimes. And I
Mm.
was just like, I'm gonna sing a ballad with the piano, and that's it. So people were in shock at first, but then they were like, we actually like this dude.
Yeah. No, it was really amazing, visually stunning. If you haven't seen it, you need to
Thank
check
you.
it out. Go to YouTube, watch it. But with that being said, with the Eurovision movie, is there any speckle of truth to how the process is that we saw in the movie versus how it is in real life?
Kinda, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
kinda. I am kind of, let's just say
Just
kind
a
of.
little
And
bit.
Will did a great job. He did a great
Yeah.
job at like showing how it's done and how family orientated, like also the like it's one big family. Eurovision is
Mm-hmm.
one big almost like balloon of positive energy, and you never know when it pops, it could
Right.
pop any moment. Like that's what you feel when you're there. So there's always excitement, there's
Yeah.
always a lot of positivity, openness. So that he really captured that really well, and the craziness that Eurovision
Yeah.
can be. But of course, I wanted to have a little bit more subtleness and a little bit more focus on music sometimes, because that's who I am and that's what I
Yeah.
tried to do. But all of a sudden, at the
Yeah.
ending scene, I saw my piano popping up, and I was like,
Oh,
well, wait a minute, did you just
okay.
steal my piano? Because I knew that he was recording there. So I still have to ask him if it was actually my piano he used there. But yeah, it
Yeah.
was, I thought it was a great movie. It really represented it, but it's a lot bigger than what you
Yeah.
see in the movies. It's like
Of
200
course.
million people view it, like seeing it. It's just crazy. It's so big.
Yeah. Yeah. Will might owe you some royalties if he used your piano. So
I mean,
definitely not
yeah,
get on the phone with
definitely.
him.
I mean, US people know how to sue, so that's one thing that I learned. No, I'm joking. No, it's fine. He can use it
Yeah.
whenever.
Yeah, that was awesome. But let's talk about the song, that you did on Eurovision Arcade.
Mm,
One of the biggest songs, like it's got over 2 billion streams. Yes, that's billion with a B,
yeah,
people. Explain,
a
can you
B.
explain how that, yeah, how did that song come about, or how the idea of using Arcade come about?
I started writing this song Arcade, and I say I started because it had a little bit of a journey. When I was studying at a place called the Rock Academy, which is just a school for pop music in the Netherlands, and I was finally crawling out of that period of being bullied in my small town, and I was in a new city and a city all of a sudden, which was like mind blowing for me. And then
Mm,
I was all of a sudden the small town boy in the big arcade, and I started writing about my own experiences. But in the back of my mind, I always had the story of a friend of the family who passed away when I was younger, and she had the love of her life. They had split up a couple of years before she passed away, and on the day she passed away, she kept staring to the door and longing for him to walk in and say goodbye, but he never did. So that was
mm,
such a rough, tragic thing that was still in there. And because I've always collected negative like things and turned them into something positive by taking that bullying period, for example, and turning it into songs, I thought if I can do that, I can take this unanswered love and maybe one day write a song about it. So that's how
mm-hmm.
I started Arcade, by combining our two stories. And I took it to a couple of songwriters, like all individual sessions, and eventually I took it to Wouter Hardy, who's an amazing producer, and he and I finished it.
Nice. Yeah, it definitely did a great job on it. And it hit me on,
Thank you.
a couple of levels because, one, I play video games a lot. So I definitely lost a lot of video games in my life. And
Yeah,
then I've also lost
that's
in the game of
tragic. I
love.
know.
So yeah, I just experienced all the loss at one time. But it's great.
You know the
Do,
double meaning of it. Like
yeah,
you
yeah.
you can feel that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was pain on both sides, trust me. But
Yeah, yeah.
do, is there any games like you play at all? Do you play any video games, card games, or board
Oh God,
games?
like I mean, right now I don't have time for it because I just want to write songs. But when I was young, I was hooked on. It's very funny. I started with the actual arcade kind of games because I love Tetris, for example. I love
Yeah, yeah.
Pac-Man. I loved all those things when I was young. So when I say arcade, I think of those kind of games. Like the things
Yeah.
that you can actually find in an arcade. But hey, it went from Sims to all of a sudden there was this thing on, I think it was RuneScape, that you played online with, like, in an online world. I was hooked to that. I was like, there were a couple of, like, trendy things that I just went along with, but I'm not that big of a gamer, to be honest.
Yeah. I mean, that's cool. Can you is there a way you can describe love like one of those video games? Like, can you make a correlation between love and Pac-Man or Tetris, the video game?
Pac-Man would be a very weird situation here with, like, let's not go into that one. It might, like, be a little dirty minded, but
Yeah, yeah.
no, I mean, it's all a quest. It's all like a search for something, and you always hopefully at the end of the game you find it or not. And it's, it can literally feel like game over after a breakup. It can literally feel like you're not ever wanting to, you know get a new life and start over again. But
Hmm.
in most cases, people, you actually can. You
Yeah.
can just do it. Just like a video game, you can start over brand new and find the new love of your life whenever you want.
Yeah, exactly. It's a beautiful message. And I would add on to that and say if the game makes you mad, you just turn it off and start over
Exactly.
again.
There's a button for it, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's reset. We'll start a new thing
Oh,
going.
only if
But
only it was so easy in real life, right?
yeah, yeah. So before I let you get out of here, concerts and festivals are coming back. Do you have
Yes.
any plans to be doing shows anytime soon?
I do. I mean, the Netherlands just announced that festivals are being possible again starting from July 26th. So I'm doing a couple of home country festivals, and then I'm moving on to a tour. First off in Netherlands, Northern Europe, and then Europe, and in February. And we're like behind the scenes, we are having a lot of plans for the US, but right now with the restrictions and the rules and everything, it's just very hard to say anything or to plan anything. So we are
Yeah.
working on it very hard, and I that's my number one biggest dream right now, to be able to tour through the US. That would be amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it if we do come to the US. I'm sure you will at some point. It'd be awesome to
Yes, definitely.
see you perform live. All right, real quick, last question. If you got to
Yeah.
create your own festival, like a Dunkapalooza or Bring the Funk in with Duncan, uh, what artists would you have on the lineup? Let's say like top five. You could be the headliner, so maybe four more. You headline. Who else would you
Well,
have
thank you.
in your who else would you have in your festival?
I would get the Foo Fighters, definitely.
Ooh,
I You would be the online host of our online
yes.
festival. That's a gig
I'll
for
take
you.
it.
And
Awesome.
I mean, I love so many, but I would definitely book Troy Sivan. I would
Mm.
definitely book Noah Cyrus. It would be a very like maybe more hippie kind of rock and roll, like nostalgic festival. I would book this guy. He's Icelandic, actually, Asgeir, who is amazing. He's insane. He's so cinematic. And who else? Like, let's add some variety in there. Like a pop artist would be ah. This is hard. Let's just say Ariana Grande. I love Ariana Grande. Like
Hey,
she's like, poof,
that's a great
like,
pick.
but
That's a solid pick.
yeah, yeah, I know.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Ariana Grande. You could say you and
Yeah,
Ariana Grande, and that would be festival worthy.
thank
But
you.
that's awesome. But I have to make sure I'll get my tickets. I mean, obviously, I'll be doing online hosting, so I have to work, but I have to definitely check that festival
Exactly.
out.
You have a lot of work there.
Well, thank
Hosting
you
all
so
the
much,
online events.
Duncan.
Thank
Thank
you
you so much
too.
for the
Thank you
time.
too.
Appreciate you. Everybody go check out his album, Small Town Boy. The deluxe version is out and stream
Mm.
arcade and watch the arcade Eurovision performance so you can see all the visual stunningness.